Boriska Kipriyanovich, 29 years old, is a phenomenon that has astonished experts. His profound knowledge of the universe since he was a child. He claims that, in a past life, he was from Mars and flew to ancient Egypt as a pilot. Boriska Kipriyanovich states that the Martians have a close connection with the ancient Egyptians on Earth. He mentions that life on Earth will change when the Sphinx statue in Giza is unlocked, adding that it has an unlocking mechanism behind its ear. He says that humanity's life will change when the Sphinx is opened. It has a mechanism to unlock somewhere behind the statue. According to reports from Russian media in 2004, a mysterious boy, not yet 10 years old, claimed to be from Mars. The boy has two characteristics that are completely different from boys his age. First, he has an unusually rich knowledge of various aspects. Second, he is well versed in technical terminology and can accurately grasp materials related to the universe. He even knows the history of Mars and Earth. The boy's perspective on Earth, humanity, and the future is truly unique and astonishing. The boy Boriska, born on January 11, 1996, in a hospital in a remote rural area north of Volgograd, Russia, comes from a kind family of the working class. His mother is a dermatologist at a public hospital, while his father is a military officer. His parents recall that since Boriska was born, many strange things have happened around him. When he was just 15 days old, he could lift his head and say the words, "Daddy." By the time he was 1.5 years old, he could read the headlines of articles. This made it hard to believe that he could also hold a pen and write Chinese characters. One day, his mother brought two characters he had written to ask a university professor, and he recognized them as Chinese, meaning China. His mother shared that she and her husband had never learned Chinese and that no one had taught the boy. Since he turned 2, the boy has had extraordinary memory and amazed others with his ability to learn and grasp new knowledge. His mother recalls that sometimes she would see him sitting and doing puzzles, mumbling as if meditating, and talking about worlds far beyond people's imagination. Boriska is very fond of talking about Mars, the solar system, and distant civilizations. At those times, his parents really couldn't believe what they were hearing. Since he was 2 years old, every day was like a mantra, as he discussed the universe and the infinitely vast worlds. From then on, Boriska began to tell his parents that he had lived on Mars before, that there were once people living on Mars, but due to a catastrophic disaster, the atmosphere on Mars was almost gone. The Martians could no longer live there and had to migrate to Earth. The little Martian also shared that he often piloted a spaceship to tour Earth. His purpose was to take on a mission and reincarnate into a family in Western China. However, he couldn't remember exactly what that mission was. In 2006, a local witness revealed that a few years earlier, on a quiet night when campers were sitting around the fire chatting, Boriska suddenly stood up and shouted loudly, attracting everyone's attention. This witness continued, "We were curious about what the boy wanted to say. It wasn't until later that he said he wanted to share with everyone about life on Mars and the miraculous things he had experienced." What is unimaginable is when the boy vividly describes the ancient legend of the continent of Lemuria, which mysteriously sank to the bottom of the Indian Ocean. According to the boy, when he came from Mars to Earth, he landed in this land and was well aware of life here. Lemuria is a mystical land that appeared in legends 800,000 years ago. This continent, also known as Mu, is located in the Pacific Ocean. It was submerged along with its inhabitants thousands of years ago. Not only children, even university professors may not all be aware of these things. However, the boy is familiar with every small detail about the history and civilization of that ancient country and describes them in detail, as if they were a part of him. The phenomenon of children remembering their past is no longer rare, and the theory of reincarnation is no longer a novel topic, even in the scientific community. Carl Sagan, an American astronomer and biologist, even acknowledged the fact that reincarnation deserves to be studied seriously. Sometimes, children accurately recall information from their past lives with no reasonable explanation other than reincarnation. There are some very specific examples. Many similar cases have been discovered by psychiatrist Sim Tucker at the University of Virginia, who is considered a world leader in this field. In 2008, he published a study on cases believed to be related to reincarnation in a journal. A typical case of reincarnation described by Zim includes the experiences of the subject when living in a past life. Interestingly, the subjects accurately described their past lives. Most were children at an average age when they began to remember their past lives, around 35 months old, and the events or experiences from their past lives that they remembered were often specific, memorable details from life that no one else could know exactly, except for themselves. They were taken to meet their families from their past lives, confirming addresses, occupations, and other details they had lived in their past lives. There are many people who believe that reincarnation is real, but is it the only path, or just one of many different paths for the human soul after death? Some people believe that there are souls that can reincarnate as another person on Earth. Others believe that souls can be reborn on other planets, becoming extraterrestrial beings. They even believe that reincarnation is just a choice of the soul. Other possibilities include choosing to go to other dimensions and experience life there, or choosing not to reincarnate and experience a non-material life. Is it possible for a soul to be forced to reincarnate until it is enlightened and ascends to a new level? There are also opinions that the soul originates from somewhere else. There are many questions and too many possibilities that can occur, and reincarnation may just be one of them. Therefore, what Boriska recounts could very well be memories from a past life on Mars. Boriska has described much about modern ships on Mars, various alien species, their technology, and the wars that have occurred in the past. The boy describes spacecraft powered by ion energy and other ships with extremely powerful energy. Martians do not use oil or natural gas because their engines are too powerful, causing resources to deplete quickly. When asked about UFOs, Boriska said he often sees them in a teardrop shape rather than the traditional shape. An expert asked Boriska why human spacecraft often crash when coming close to Mars. The boy explained that Martians emit a special signal to destroy objects containing. Theo Boriska, there have been many bloody wars that destroyed many things on the Red Planet. This has devastated the atmosphere and disrupted the population. The boy talks about a type of technology that helps to ignite Jupiter to turn it into a second sun, providing Mars inhabitants with enough energy to use. However, before this technology could be implemented, war broke out and everything became chaotic. Novelist Nikolov has written many great books about the galaxy, including mentions of wars in the galaxies that once erupted on Mars and lasted for many years. In an interview, Boriska said, "We are not afraid of death because we are immortal. There was a catastrophic accident on Mars where I was born, but people like me still live there. A nuclear war occurred on Mars, destroying everything. Only a few survived. They had to take shelter and create new weapons. Everything changed. Mars people primarily breathe carbon dioxide. If they flew to Earth, they would definitely have to use breathing tubes to adapt." When asked why, being from Mars, he does not need carbon dioxide, Boriska shared. "Because I am in the form of a human, I have to breathe oxygen. But, oxygen makes people age quickly." Boriska also added, "From a scientific perspective, breathing oxygen does indeed make people age." As for nuclear warfare, according to Dr. John Brandenburg from the University of California, there is enough evidence to suggest that at least 2 large nuclear explosions occurred on the surface of Mars in the past. This conclusion is based on traces of radioactive elements and craters on the surface of Mars. In other words, he believes that Mars once had a civilization advanced enough to create atomic bombs. Boriska and his stories have taken the world from one surprise to another. However, the truth of whether he is from Mars or not still lacks a definitive answer. What do you think about what this boy has said? Please leave your comments below.